Hey everybody, Gen X Gamer here back, and today, the 23rd of October, Farthest Frontier comes off early access and has released version 1.0.0. Um, I played this up on the beta access version, which is they've added a couple things since I played, but I got up to about a 650 person um, community, however you want to say that for population. Um, and it's a lot of fun. They've added a few things to it, um, but I really like the city builder. It's dynamic, has a lot of things going on. So yeah, I like it. And I did confirm if you have a save where you did play on the beta, it does come in. You can play it now. It still loads it. So that's cool. So if you had something you built up, like I can go back in and play my old city here at some point if I'd like to. Um, so yeah. So I'm going to start a new one today. Um, I have never played on Vanquisher. I've always just basically played on Trailblazer regular. Um, so, um, I do plan on sticking with that. Let's see, what do we want for a name? Let's pick a good one. How about Cholerado? That works for me. Map size, we'll go large. The last one I did Idyllic Valley. I think I'll switch it up this time. Lowland Lakes, I've seen some people playing on that, and that actually is, I like some of those maps. I think we're going to go with that. I'm not going pacifist mode. I don't think there's any thing here that I want to disable or change. I think I'm going to keep everything just normal. Advanced settings, I think we're going to keep that like it is. I don't have a map CDU, so I'm just going to see what comes up. All right, let's get started.
Life can be harsh everywhere, but in the old world, there was no hope of it ever improving. When our crops failed, the ruling class would still collect the same share, leaving our children to starve. And if we had any coin to our name, the taxman would appear, demanding it for the crown. The nobles hid behind the safety of their walls and did nothing when raiders pillaged the outskirts of the city. And so, some of us decided that it was time to leave, that we'd rather take our chances in the wilderness, seeking the promise of a new land, than starve to death in our homeland. The journey wasn't easy. We lost many along the way. This wild, unsettled land offers us the hope of a new start as the masters of our own destiny.
Sounds like Stan Marsh reading that for some reason from South Park. So we'll see how this map roll goes. Hopefully it's got a good place to start. But I'll show you in here. If we don't like it, there are several ways to, You can easily reroll, get a new seed until you find something that meets your needs. Come on, map. Maybe. Maybe. All right. So, the villagers telling you they've scouted their area, um, and to look for things like resources and stuff on the map. So, um, they've kind of picked here in the middle, which actually, first glance, doesn't look too bad. Um, let's see what else we got here. We got some wolves. That's kind of cool to defend. Water all there. One little big lake, I guess. Look at that. So there's stone, quite a few trees around. Looks like lots of resources up in here. And then we'd have to see what it's like up there, but at least, I mean, initially, easily the paths in, at least into the main part of town looked like defensible. It don't, definitely a lot of lake, but lots of area here just to grow kind of the town. It's not bad. Let's see. This is our fertility. What was this over here? Oh, it looks like, is that a old? Yeah, I think we can. It's either village raiders. Might be a raider camp. Can't tell. And there's also sometimes it doesn't look like an old structure that would have relics, but those are around too. And this wouldn't be bad. Kind of come up in here, I guess, and when we get to start doing farming. Yeah, this isn't terrible here. It's a little hilly, but that's okay. Some fish shoals down here. That's good. How are we doing on? There's some stuff for hunters. There's some deer down here. Deer over there. I kind of like this map. We will go with it. First roll. Or do we re-roll and try our luck? Let's see if there's something we like better. Let's do it. Let's roll. We can't take the first one, can we? Let's see what happens. All right. We're back with the new roll. Let's see how this one looks. Already it looks a lot different, doesn't it? There's there no lakes on this one? So what happened? One lake. I definitely like the last one better. I feel like it didn't re-roll us into a lakes map. Let's try this again. Maybe re-roll doesn't necessarily put you in what you had picked. Let's see. I'll be back. All right. Let's see. This one looks like I at least see a lake. That's positive. Not as many as the first for sure, but we're surrounded. Okay. all along the right. Looks like a little peninsula up there, which is cool. I like that there's a lot of land, all lake on the left, except when you get down in here. So the real question, I guess, would be what happens down here. That's a big area. Unless there's another lake down there. But I have to say, I do kind of like this. Looks like there's plenty of deposits. I can't remember where our people were. I don't see them now. The place that they chose, but kind of like the idea. And I don't know whether, looks like, okay, there's trees up in there. Is this the same down here? Maybe we're going to go with this one. I'm feeling good. Looks like, at least initially, there's all trees there. Which would be a vulnerable spot for sure, but kind of like there, starter town. But also, I wouldn't mind somewhere like maybe down here either, on top of the hill, for a city center. And then kind of build out from there. Let's see, how are we doing on fertility? We got lots of fertility down here, which is cool. Starting with some over there. And a bunch over here. This would probably be good farm territory later. Part of me, I want to be up. Decisions. I want to be up here and start, or do we want to be down this way? I kind of like here. But I like the idea of moving over that way for farms later. We have lots of resources to run out and get if we start down here. And lots. I like this one a little bit better, I think, than that first roll, just because we have more. We have more land area to kind of do stuff on. So I think we're going to go right here. We'll go on top of the hill with our town center. And it'll be up high above the rest of our city. We're going with that. All right. Of course, we start out with a housing shortage. So the tutorials will show you how to harvest. So you can select an area, and we're gonna really just need to clear. We'll go ahead and clear everything. So we're gonna need all of those trees, and we're gonna need everything. So we'll just. This looks like a good start. So we'll get our city center built here. But yeah, I like this one's, like I was saying before, it's definitely more, it's a lot more involved. Where, you look at like a town to city builder, it definitely does more of the cute part. And and I like that game too. That's a fun one to play. Um, but this one's just definitely gets the more it all goes on, the more involved it gets. And when you get into the farming is very hands on. The you know balancing resources, making sure you have food, traders, the you know taking care of the emotional well-being of your people, and it really gets um, involved. And then you start getting into having to have a military and the raiders, and you can turn that off. Um, but I found before it wasn't overwhelming because early on in this game, as you play, your townsfolk can take care of any if you get raided. Um, so it's not, um, it's not like you're defenseless. They'll go into your town center and they have access to some weapons that they brought along with them. So they're able to defend against the initial um, things that you're doing. So that's not bad. Um, and then and then it's like a gradual build up for your military as you play. All right. So if we're doing our town center here, I guess and it's and even though they scouted all of that whole area and you could see it all, now suddenly you cannot. Um, you can't see it. So it's all right. We're gonna have a dirt road. I eventually do probably want to do some walls around this, but I don't. We'll kind of make it. We'll just build some dirt roads here. Kind of built up the square. Our town can have. We might. I don't know which way I want to go yet with. Building where we want to do houses. We got to figure that out. Clicking out of that, but all right. So that's just confirming we need firewood, which we do, and we need to get started on housing. So let's pause this for a second. And I can figure out which kind of way we want to go. I know that over there is kind of where I wanted to work into farming eventually. We have a lot of area down here. The top might be where we want to start. Our housing. This might be a good spot, and then we can maybe go south part of town with our industry stuff here in a little bit. So let's go this way. And then we need to get so we do need to build a well here at some point. That's important. And a firewood splitter, and we need to start on houses too. Um, let's see. The firewood splitter. I think we're gonna do. Let's do. Let's do a road straight out. They're gonna have to remove all those trees. And then we'll just work out. We'll start out this way. We'll just put the firewood splitter out here. Oops. Got to remember what rotates. It's not R. Rotate camera, rotate placeables tab. All right. So we're just going to put him, we'll have him build him here just for right now. We'll probably have to move him later. And then we need to start on some houses. So right now we're just building shelters. So we'll start with these. Actually, you know what? Let's just do, just so I have some guides here. This is probably a little bit wider than what I really need, but we'll do that. And then we'll start some shelters. 2, 3. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses. And then we need to do, we'll do another road. It goes there. And then we'll do another road for these houses over here. All right. So we'll get that all going. All right, so initially here, we do need to get houses up. We're in spring, so before winter hits, we need a firewood guy going, and we need the shelter. And then we're also going to need to start working on some people gathering some food. Because right now we brought with us, we managed to have 5 months. So we're going to want to get that going too here. All right, cool. So I have for the professions, I have it right now on automatic. So one guy, when you have openings, it pulls from your laborers. So right now we have 7 laborers and 4 builders. And as we start building stuff, it's going to pull from laborers and start throwing them into these jobs as we build stuff. So they're missing logs. So, but I think we have, we still have quite a bit that they can mark for. We'll do some more. And then they definitely can come down here since we're going to be building houses down into here. And we'll mark more of those. And then we have a little bit of stone. We need to have them do that's not what I wanted. Resources. I want to get a fountain. All right, so if you look here, you can see there's a water bonus. Like there's a water bonus over there of like 75%. There's a little bit of a bonus up over here too. That's quite high. Over here where we got people living, it's not that high. As long as we have it close by, because they will use this, like if there's if you get into where there's a fire, we'll do, where are we at? We put it a little bit further down. How are we doing? 55 bonus. We'll be okay with that for right now. And again, you can build stuff, you can move stuff. So, nothing's hard. And it's been a bit since I've played this game, so there's a little bit of me trying to remember, how I want to play stuff. And you do definitely later, like, there's, when you start have to place, some things need to be placed convenient for your people, like the housing, in order to have an influence on them. Some things need to be, some things don't matter. So yeah, there's my first, this one, in this first playthrough, will be a lot of remembering where stuff needs to be. And then, kind of going from there for the next roll and be a little bit more prepared for it. So we need to get food going here soon too. I want them to get the houses done, so we start having some we have that for by the time winter gets here. But we're also down to now 4 months of food, and if you hover over, it breaks down what you have for your food, so you can then click on it, and you can see the kind of watch what's consumed, produced, spoiled, what you're importing, exporting, and as far as everything, grains, vegetables. It breaks down everything that you have to make, that you can make: milk, cheese, luxury items, and all that. So you'll see we did have some firewood built, and that went to 0. So what happens is these houses, and this is a pop-up about desirability, and as it grows, you need to do things around, put decorations and parks and different stuff in order to increase desirability, and then houses upgrade. But when you click on a house, you can see, like, this one has 12 firewood in it already. So what happens is they're going to stock each house with food, water, and firewood so they're going to keep supplies in all the houses too. So when you start looking at, like, our food stores, if it drops down to like 0, likely what's going on is all the food's just moved out of storage and into houses, and the game doesn't count that. So yeah, so you definitely need to kind of know that that things are going to disappear on you. So what I think we should probably go ahead and now that they're working on houses, I'm trying to, let's see, is there anything? I mean, there's plenty marked for them to harvest. And if you can harvest things out of, so if you have a bunch of resources that are inside of the forest, sometimes you can harvest those away. And people moving and building out is going to push things like, deer and that sort of stuff away too. So you got to be aware of that you can push. You're going to be pushing stuff away from your city as you grow. And so your hunters and stuff like that are going to have to go get it. All right, so there's a big shoal of fish over here. We're going to do... I'm going to get this going for a fisherman's hut. We need to do all of these, but we're going to have to do a smokehouse here too. So we're going to do a fishing shack. Now, these don't have to be right on a road. So what'll happen is if you're not on a road, all right, so we got people that want to come, and we need 4-month food supply and 6 houses. So though we do have people that want to join our city. So we can place this guy out here. And what I like for the fishermen and the hunters to be closer to what they're doing rather than necessarily closer to the city. So invalid, I think, because I'm building on something over there. So we'll put it, we're going to put him right there. And then we'll get him fishing right next to that shoal of fish, which means he should be pulling in a bunch and doing really good for our fish supply. We need to get a hunter cabin being built. So we'll probably stick with over here for right now. And then we will move around his area. We're probably going to move him in a little bit. Right now, we'll keep him a little bit closer to town. But we'll push him out. Here eventually, we'll move his cabin. But we'll build him right there. We do need to probably also start. We're going to need a couple of forager shacks. For our food supply. We can put them, where do we want to go? And they'll have to get rid of, we're going to have to tear down trees in order for us to put them there. I think they don't like that because it's on a hill. They're not liking that spot too much. See what? Let's just go. We'll put our forager shack over here next to. We're going to get 2 of those going. And then we do want to build a smokehouse. We can get him off. We can do him off the hill. Let's see. We'll start moving down this way with some of our industrial stuff. Although he doesn't have a bad, you can look and see, like, he's not negative for desirability. Oops. So we'll just stick him over here for right now. Originally I thought about putting houses over this way, but I think I'm going to just keep moving that way. So we'll put the smokehouse over here. Since our hunter shack's over here, we'll let them build that. So we'll just go ahead and mark more stuff that they eventually can cut down. So we'll see. We just gotta wait for them to build stuff. So the early game is definitely very chill and doesn't take much time, but things are cool. Like, you zoom in here, I mean, the detail. You know, so the hunter cabin now has somebody in it. So we need to set area for the hunter cabin. So if you click on retarget, you can come pick the area that he's going to run out and do stuff. So you can see it'll tell you got deer there, deer there. So I'm going to try to capture both of those areas. So that's now his area. So he's going to run around in all of that and hunt. And then he'll go out and hunt, bring the carcass back, and then he processes it in there. So once we get these other people in, we'll probably want to add another hunting cabin, but yeah, this will at least get us started here. So he'll start hunting. We're still working on our fishermen and our other stuff, and then our foragers, and they do the same thing. So the foragers are only forage where you do like the big area and tell them to. So like initially, like one of them can do this whole area, and they'll come and get like the blueberries and the bird's nest, but they're only going to gather stuff that's in their circle, and then they bring it back and put it in storage. There's some things that are important to have. Obviously, any of the other stuff for food, but like these willow bushes, medicinal roots come in later when you have like a healer. But yeah, so the willow bushes they make baskets out of. So you'll have a basket person maker that you'll create in that. So you'll need the willow bushes for that, and then you can trade their trade items to the baskets and all that. So, but yeah, so I was starting to say, when you come in here, like you can watch them work. So these guys are cutting down trees. So you can watch them clear the forest and the trees, and then the guy got his little thing. I think he's probably hauling. Not gonna let me click on him.
Aye?
So he's build site stocking. So he's bringing items. He was coming back from over here where we were building what did we have? Whatever we had going. He's stocking the sites. This little thing, my last game I didn't move it. You can move this. And get it out of your way. Otherwise it sets parked here the whole game and doesn't leave. But right now it's our storage. It has food and weapons and all that stuff in it. You can see we brought a bunch of tools with us, arrows, some bows, and then that's the food supply. And once we start building storage, this won't be important for our town, but for right now it kind of is. We'll keep it in the middle, but eventually we can move it. We're low on firewood. Yeah, I know. So we're down to 1 month food according to this. Like I said, a lot of it is they're going in stocking. So you can see already just the hunter cabin and a little bit we've had it. They've produced tallow, pelts, and a bunch of meat already. So we're already producing that meat. And then once they get these built, these guys will start working. I think we're at a decent little start here. We can hold up to 24 people now with our with our housing. We got room for growth still. We're not close on that. And then if you go over the people, you can see up there where it tells you how many adults, 10 adults, 2 adolescents, and then how many houses you have, the villager count. And then when you go in there, that's where it tells you like how many laborers you have, how many builders you currently have. And then, you can get down into lowering the number of people that are doing certain jobs if you need to, and all that stuff. So once we get the basics done and get into next year, we'll get a lot of people moving in here, and we'll have plenty of people to do work. All right, so we're going to redo that. So if you look down below, it tells you your fishing area, and it tells you the fish count, and then the plus. So right there's plus 90%, which that's pretty good. And the fishing productivity is 290%. Look at the bottom. So this is like, with those shoals, that's going to be awesome. We're going to get, that guy's going to get us lots of fish. And these roads don't look like they connected them, does it? I don't know if I can fix that or not. All right, now we'll get a connection. I don't know why these didn't. I don't know why those didn't connect. Yeah. Hopefully, between the fishermen going, and then the foragers, come wintertime, there's generally nothing for them to forage. So they kind of go dormant. And the same with when we start having farmers and stuff, they'll go dormant too. So if you want to micromanage people, certain times a year you can move people and use them for, kind of make them laborers versus, when they're not actively working, so that they come back into your work pool. So there's a lot of, if you want to micromanage the game, you can do that. I know some people don't. Like, I have it set up right now where it's automatic, on putting people into jobs, and there's some people that don't do that they play it where they're literally micromanaging every person. So, all right, so this is the forager shack. So we want to make sure they're getting stuff. So right now we got some willow bushes over there. We got some nuts, some hazelnuts down in here. Those would probably be good because they're going to be for food. And some mushroom clusters. So we'll put this one down. We'll have them forage down there. And is that another forager? It's a fishing shack. I don't think the other... Alright. So maybe... we'll have them... I don't know what else is over there, but they'll go search around. So we'll move this like that. We'll get them foraging. The other one should be built soon. Then they'll get the smoker going. What is that saying? The building has no food. All right. Oops, didn't need to do that. So yeah, these in their shacks, they'll keep food and stuff in the storage. um, like the hunters and stuff, so that they can work out of their cabin. So yeah, but the foragers, there's lots of stuff down here that we'll be able to eventually get down there and start getting. So yeah, I like the spot. I think this will be a good one. All right, we got a knowledge point. So the other part of this that you have to manage is the technology tree. So as you gain knowledge points, which we'll be adding things to do that, schools, and then I can't remember what the academy. I was trying to remember what they called it. It's right there. So you build like the academy, and what they do is increase your knowledge points. So then you get a technology tree, and it's pretty extensive. So it goes basically up over here into farming and animal husbandry, and then farming stuff, glass recycling, barrel making, trade center, bookbinding, coal fire stoves, pharmaceuticals, in healthcare or hospitals, deep wells, so that your people have more stuff. And you get over into, citadels for your military, and then it gets into, stuff to make marksman training, and then all this over here is more into, your mining, and you're having a quarry and woodworking and stuff that makes all of that more efficient. So some technology kind of comes with the game, and then there's a lot of stuff that you have to go through here and unlock. So we have one knowledge point, and then you'll see it's all broke down by levels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to be the level of your town center. So as your people go up and you meet certain requirements, you can upgrade your town center, and then that unlocks different areas for you to be able to apply points to. So initially, there's quite a few good just initial ones to have, sustainable fishing, so that you don't wear those out. More resources gathered, sustainable farming, which we're not farming yet. We can put down a field, but I think we're limited on what we can actually farm. It's only a couple of crops. Iron shares, taxation, which will be important when we get to a market here soon. Hygiene, natural philosophy, which increases our base general knowledge. We can get in defensive barricades already. Spotters, which is important people to see, especially when we start getting into where raiders might come. Less work to produce shoes. Stone cutting is more efficient. There's a lot of things. You really just have to come and choose. But generally, where I started my last one was the natural philosophy. So your base knowledge goes faster, which means we make points faster. And I think that's kind of to me is a no-brainer. We'll do that. And then, and then they can die of disease. Dysentery and typhoid and cholera and all this stuff. So I did hygiene's one of the early ones I do also. So we got that point going on that. And then if you look up here, it tells you there's 5 months before we'll get our next point. All right, so we're now starting to get mid-autumn. We're up to 1 month's food in storage for our people, which is good because I think we were down to 0. And it says 1 month of spoilage is what we can expect. But right now we're not, our stuff is going to go, like our meat and fish right now aren't smoked until we get our smokehouse up. So we're going to have, some things are just going to go bad. That's just kind of part of it. Oh, we got our other foragers out now. And how are we doing? We got 38 firewood. So I think all our houses are stocked right now, which is important. We want that up. And then, yeah, I think we're setting good right now for our first year. I'm going to see how we're down to 0. So as it pulls stuff out, like the one had that for a second ago had no food in it. And then that indicator just went away. And we went back down to 0 months of food. But just to show you, it moves it in there. So there's food. So everybody, I don't know, it doesn't really tell you like what's in people's houses, like how long they can live with what's in there. So that shelter only has water. It doesn't have any food in it. That one does. And I don't know if that's just because maybe it's just the ones people are living in. It looks like those all have. It's all stocked with food. So, yeah. So once we get this built and get our smoker going, we'll start to figure out what we can do. And you can, in this game, terraform. So workers will come and level out ground and stuff. So if you need to add on, like there were certain parts here where it wouldn't let me build something because of the steepness, you can come in and adjust that. So your workers will do it. It takes time. It's not like an instant terraforming thing. The workers come and actually work the earth and do that. So, all right. So right now, that guy's missing meat or fish, but we should be starting to get some here soon. What we can do also, let's go through and see what we can build right now that we haven't. So we're going to start it. We'll start at the top. So we can add a graveyard. I'm not worried about that until we need it. Once we have some deaths, which we might this winter, we'll see how it goes. Once we have any deaths, we have to do a graveyard. Otherwise, the bodies lay around inside your city and they'll spread disease. So you definitely got to do that once you have somebody die. We can do a shrine, and this helps desirability for your people and where they live. And that's about it under amenities. Housing right now, we can't do the temporary shelter. We can do the shelter we did. Temporary shelters are nice because they'll stock it with food and supplies. So if we have somebody working way off in the a long ways away, which we very well could when they start doing mining and stuff, where they can't just go back and forth to their house, that gives them shelter. Storage. We can do a stockyard, which we probably should go ahead and figure out where we want to put that. And then once we need, so we'll come back to that. So I definitely want to get that built because that opens up a storage depot, a storehouse, and the root cellar for us to store food in. So we definitely want to get that going. Food production. We could do a crop field that we haven't done yet. Everything else here we've planted, so we can get into crops here in the next couple of years. Resources. The only thing we've unlocked so far is firewood splitter. We'll get a saw pit, and that's a lot of this other stuff was tied to, having a well, that one in the storehouse. So storage is going to be important here. Fences, we can do a tower. I'm not worried about it just yet. but we can get a tower and you can put people in there with um, bow and arrows and stuff like that. We can do roads, which we've been doing the dirt roads. That's all that's available to us now. We can upgrade that later to a cobbled road. That comes to tier 3. And we can do fences around stuff. So um, we can get that done. And then decorations is the other one. We can do trees. We can do garden trails. So we can come back in and put bushes and maple trees and birch trees and stuff like that around our housing, which ups desirability. But I think what we probably want to do is start to think about where we want to put storage. Since it looks like this is probably the direction I'm going to be going over here for housing, we're probably going to keep working out kind of over this way. And I've already started some stuff over here. We're going to probably put our storehouse right over here for right now. We'll go ahead and get that over here. And that way, you know, that's going to store firewood and logs and stuff, which I'm thinking out loud here. So I might want to go kind of down over this way with the storehouse and then move that down. The storehouse is going to be logs and stuff like that, not it's not going to be food. So I don't necessarily need it over here, the storehouse itself over by them. So I think we'll probably come down here. And they're going to have to tear out some trees in order to build that, which is fine. We need that wood. I think we're going to do it right here. We'll start coming down this way. At least we'll get them going on that. And we're up to 3 months food. So we have a lot of meat, but we're getting stocked up now on vegetables. We have dairy. I don't know where the milk came from, and cheese. I think that's stuff we must have brought with us that's still in our trailer, but in our cart. Well, it doesn't show it, so I'm not sure where that is, but yeah, we'll get. I think we're up to 4 months food, and we're starting to get into winter. So the seasons will change. You can see all the trees changed into autumn. But I think we're doing pretty good right now. We're sitting pretty good for the end of the first stuff. I want to build a road here. Otherwise people will walk. Let's cut across here. That way if people work there, they don't have to walk all the way around. We probably can cut through here too. Because people will take the long way. I didn't see, how are we doing on fish and stuff? Let's see. Yeah, we have quite a bit of fish. And we're smoked meat. As you can see, we got smoked meat, smoked fish, which is good because that will it will last longer. And then once we get root cellar, that helps preserve stuff longer too. So let's 7 people. It's gonna impact our food, but I think we should take them. It's right before winter. they'll be here for spring. Yeah, we'll accept. I didn't expect anybody to show up like right now for right before winter, but I think we have enough firewood and stuff for them to survive. We're up to 94, so I think we have enough food, so we'll take them. I think we can speed up time now. I don't generally play this game on like multiple fast speed. But like now when it's winter, we'll just do it and let these guys all do their thing here. That's kind of cool. So wintertime, they get the fireplace going in their little shelters. And people decorate them, but I mean, you can look and see that they're primitive. They don't have doors. They're just basic little wood cabins. That people are living in. They got their laundry out. All right, so now it's telling us, hey, a market would be great. So. And then people are off. They're going to go do some. They will come out and work in the winter, so they'll keep cutting trees as long as it's not really bad weather. So you'll see people out. They'll come out and do their thing. As long as it's not, one of those. If farmers won't come out, so they don't tend to fields. But the laborers will come out and they'll be cutting trees. Builders will build. So yeah, what I was gonna look at is it's telling us a market would be nice. I'm trying to think of what that's under. What was the market? Entities and service. All right. So the market, we have to get to a point where we have the storehouse and the saw pit before it unlocks market. And what the market will do is supply our houses, and it gives us income from our people through taxes through that. So we definitely need to have the saw pit and the storehouse. So now that we have, once our stockyard is built, then we can build a storehouse. And we can get a storage depot going to. But then we'll get the storehouse, and then we can get our market up and running. And we need to do the saw pit too. So that's the saw pit makes planks, which we'll need a lot of those as time goes on. And now we'll need our stockyard before we can build that. So there's a few things right now we're just kind of that are dependencies. I was going to see how we're doing on. We should have lots of trees marked for them too. So they're going to come down here. They're clearing out that spot for our stockyard. Everybody's out running around doing their thing. The hunters will hunt in the winter. So they'll run out and do that. But I just think the detail in this game is so cool. I mean, how, primitive everything is. All right, so let's back down. We're coming into spring. So the other thing we can do that just popped up is we can set policies for the town. And we do that through the town center. So Some of them are useful, some of them aren't, but you can see that they do production, civic, and military stuff. So if we click on our town center, it shows us kind of, it gives you stats on your city, and then this is where it'll tell you what you need to do to upgrade. So in order to upgrade, we'll need to the next level. We need 8 shelters, we need a market, and we need 30 people. And then we need to have 60 planks and then 30 stone. And then some of the other ones later on get to where you have to have quite a bit of money. I think different gold, a bunch of gold and stuff like that in order to do it. So it tells you your overall happiness, and the needs of the people. And it says here, they're concerned about the food supply. There's only 2 months. They want 6 months of food. It tells you how many people are sick, and all, basic needs are being met, time management, how much time they're spending doing working. So you can really micromanage and see what's going on. You can see it brings up profession screen, settlement items that you can get into. What do they need? You can get into their happiness. What is it that's affecting that? So you can fix that. Military, once you have that, crops, the technology tree, and then you get into the policies. So the only things that looks like are unlocked right now is crop yields are increased by 25, but fertility reduction from crops is increased. So everything here usually has a trade-off. Production speed increases, but injuries increase because you're making them work faster. Convenience tax, you have prohibition, coal-fired stoves, where they use coal instead of firewood. You can make them ration, so everybody eats less food, but you're going to impact their happiness. Commerce negotiations, so your merchants have more gold, but they pay you less, so you can sell more items. And then you look at Minutemen. The lookout towers can have additional guard. It costs more. Soldier recruitment costs are reduced, but happiness is reduced. And then hunters and guards can use crossbows, which lets your hunters have weapons once you start making crossbows and stuff, so they're just not bow and arrow. So, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to deal with and kind of decide what direction you want to go on things. All right, so we have our stockyard built. So they'll start. This is where all the raw materials, logs and stone and all that stuff will start getting stored. They won't have to store it in the wagon. So yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. Our first year, we hit spring. We have 3 months of food. We have another point we can spend. And I think I'm going to put that into, right now, I'm just going to put it into, since we're not doing farming, I'm just going to put it in hygiene and get that over with, so our people stay a little bit healthier. So we got that point spent. All right. So we'll come back. We'll have spring. We need to get the other stuff set up so we can have our market in the next episode. But I'm excited to see what we can do with our city here and how big we can get. This looks like a great location. Should be a lot of fun. So thanks for joining me on this one. I highly recommend this game. It is a lot of fun. It's a good city builder compared to some of the other ones. I feel like it's a lot more all-encompassing and a good product. So I'm excited for what they'll do in upcoming upgrade and updates too, as time goes along. But all right, guys. hopefully you'll keep joining me on this series, and I hope to see y'all soon. Like, subscribe, comment below. If you have any tips or for other people or for me, or if I'm doing something stupid, let me know. Anyway, guys, have a good one. Talk to you soon.